Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place. Creating the force and the power to live a better day. Know that love and joy and peace is one in all of the same space. That you were chosen just like God. That's right. Only you can make the change. Shine your head at you. Shine so bright from darkness to light. Hey, 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 hey. From darkness to light. Yeah. And you'll find your way out. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it won't seem way out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The power of God will flow through you from way out.
Welcome. This is Alchemizing Energy. This is DJ Genesis. I'm your host. And I want to ask a question. Has the Black community given up? There are so many clues as to why, we have pretty much divested away from everything, from Pan-Africanism to like pretty much everything. Have we given up on America, on our society in America? Let's talk about it. Here we go.
The fall of the American empire in real time. And there is a stark difference in the way that the white community is responding and how the Black community is responding. The Black community en masse has completely withdrawn. They fought, they campaigned, they warned us, and we chose the orange man anyway, and they're out. The white community, on the other hand, is fighting, those of us who aren't under Trump's spell. And there is this real sentiment that if we can just get Trump out of the way, then we can all get back to normal. But the thing is, that's not what God is doing. And I'm not a nihilist, but we're missing the point. The point is this white supremacist system has wreaked enough havoc, enough, and God is judging it. And the fact that we are clinging so hard to it makes me wonder, what does the Black community see that we don't, that's allowing them to totally let go right now?
This is strike three. I supported him. I defended him. I even told people early on, trust the process. I was wrong. This right here is strike three, but I'll come back to that in a minute. First, it was the Epstein files. We were promised transparency. Then suddenly they disappeared, and anyone still asking questions is told, stop following me as the president. That's not accountability. That's silencing your own supporters. Then Iran, and don't get me wrong, Iran has been yelling death to America for decades. They've sponsored more terrorism and proxy groups than anyone else. They were directly involved, especially with a lot of the parts and materials for bombs, with a lot of American soldiers getting catastrophically injured and taken out in Iraq and Afghanistan. You could have just told us Iran was evil and that we weren't gonna placate them anymore. But you had to spin it. You had to throw the propaganda. We were told their nuclear capabilities were completely destroyed after dropping a series of bunker busters. But then all of a sudden they're close to a nuke again, and here we are at war. Which one is it? Spin after spin. The story changed multiple times. I watched it all in real time. The propaganda was beyond obvious. Do they think we're that stupid? Clearly they do, because if you disagree, you're called a low IQ person. And now this image, posting a picture of yourself as Jesus, then deleting it and saying you were supposed to be a doctor in that photo. Again, stop lying to us. You messed up badly. Be a man and own it. This is the problem. Post something completely outrageous. There's a big reaction, then you delete it, then you spin it. That's not leadership. I hate to say it. That's manipulation. I did believe drain the swamp. It never happened. I believed in accountability and it was coming. It never happened. I believed things would be different, and they are different in a lot of ways that I really love. but not for the most important ones. My priorities are simple: God, family, country, faith, morality, values, and truth. Those come before any man, before any party. This is how great nations fail. When people stop questioning, when loyalty replaces principles, that's when countries fail.
But here's the thing, you believed in drain the swamp. What is the swamp? Who is the swamp? Drain what swamp? You believed in that. You voted for that. You got what you wanted. Enough.
Because history shows it comes when leaders and institutions lose all credibility. We already went through that crap with Obama and Biden. I supported him, and I was wrong. He has a lot of damage to undo, and I really hope he does. There's only one that we can rely on, and that's Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. So if you're okay with burying the Epstein truths, letting victims never see their abusers pay the price, at the end, a man depicting himself as Jesus, I don't know what to tell you, except if you meet Jesus in the end, the only words he's going to say to you will be, "I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity."
A new wave of tension is building online after warnings linked to Donald Trump sparked a heated political debate. And what's catching attention isn't just what was said, but who is staying silent. Some commentators are questioning why certain voices in public spaces aren't responding, while others are speaking out loudly on every platform.
Don't you guys find it interesting that like a lot of like Nigerian content creators and people from Africa are covering very at large what's happening in the United States? Aren't y'all like thinking about this? Like why would they be covering this stuff? Let's go.
That gap has fueled arguments, frustration, and a growing online backlash. Others are saying the situation is being misread, pointing out that the silence doesn't always mean agreement, and public reaction is often more complex than social media.
Okay, since no one's going to say it, I'm going to say it. Let's just call it what it is. This Trump administration isn't some showcase of brilliance or strategy or moral authority. It is a showcase of white mediocrity, broadcast for the entire world to see. If you think about it, they scream about being the greatest. They scream about being the smartest, the most patriotic. But when the spotlight hits them, what do we see? Corruption, incompetence, lies stacked on top of lies. A government so insecure it has to redraw maps, it has to silence voters, it has to attack its own citizens.
And why does everything sound like it's AI? Even when people are talking. Like this sounds like AI. Like is everyone getting their points from their talking points from AI? People do not talk like this. They don't talk in bullet points. Let's hear what the hell else he has to say, but he's reading from AI. You can tell it. It's driving me nuts.
Since just to hold on to power. And the world is watching. Countries overseas are looking at America, shaking their heads, saying, "This is America? This is what we were told was the standard for democracy?" Because for centuries, whiteness carried itself alongside, synonymous with excellence, while dismissing black and brown excellence as inferior. But Trump's administration has blown that myth to pieces because globally, people see it now. Whiteness in power doesn't guarantee wisdom. It doesn't guarantee justice. It doesn't even guarantee competence. All it guarantees is access. Access handed down through a rigged.
Guarantees that people are going to read AI. Man, this drives me nuts. When I hear a person that probably could be making a good point, but it sounds so obviously AI, like you're reading off of AI. He's able to make it seem more realistic, but like when they say this, it's not this, it's that. It's not that, it's this. You know, whenever a thing does like this and this and this, like people do not talk like this. People need to quit like going to AI and getting their talking points because it's so obvious you're using AI. I mean, I can hear it a mile away. Anyways, but I mean, AI is cooking right here, so I'll let it happen.
System that protects mediocrity as long as it wears the right skin. So let's be clear. This ain't about every white person, but it is about the fact that Trump has exposed the truth. that the old story of white superiority was never superiority at all. It was all smoke and mirrors. And now the smoke has cleared. So what comes next, right? If America wants respect on the world stage again, it won't come through Trump. It won't come through clinging to whiteness. It will come through honesty, justice, and multiracial democracy that values talent, not skin. Because the global stage just learned what we've always known. When you strip away the privilege, white mediocrity can't hold a candle to Black excellence.
And people can't hold a candle to AI. When you're giving a statement, it sounds so much AI. That drove me nuts. Just that, like, whatever, I would love it if he would have taken that and then made it his own. But it drives me nuts when I hear people like taking AI and trying to make it their own speech. It's like you could tell it's AI because it's not this, it's that. It's not this, it's that. The AI does that. And you could tell when AI is talking, it's gonna be bullet point. So what happened is not this, it was this, and this. It was not this, it was that. And it's not going to be this. Come on now, bro. No, humans do not communicate like that. I swear. And if I hear another one talking like that, I'll know that we just don't even have a mind of our own. That was that was not an original thought. And I swear to God, like I'm trying to show like some information, but I gotta call a spade a spade. I don't want to be encumbered by a bunch of AI people using AI and pretending like they're the ones coming up with these speeches and seem intelligent. It is so obviously AI. This was not a thing about this. This was a thing about that. And as long as we do this, and that, then it won't be like this or that. Just stupid shit. AI loves to like compare and contrast, and child, it drives me insane. Let's go. Let me finish. Let me go.
Trump supporters are quietly quitting MAGA. There's a psychological reason for that. Today, only 35% of Americans approve of Trump. On the economy, it's only 31%. His net approval just hit the lowest point of his entire presidency, lower than the insurrection on January 6th. They are leaving MAGA quietly and saying nothing publicly, unless you ask, of course. And then they say, oh, I never supported Trump. I was never part of MAGA. I just liked his policies. Cool story, bro. Tucker Carlson said, I campaigned for him. We are the reason this is happening right now, and I will be tormented for supporting Trump for a long time. I apologize, and I'm sorry for misleading people. Uh-oh. Megyn Kelly said there's no loyalty in return ever from Trump. Ever. She called him a man with zero morals. Mary Lou from the Necessary Conversation podcast just went on record saying she was never MAGA. Okay, Mary Lou. And if you know anything about Bob and Mary Lou, they are MAGA cult fanatics, or at least they were. These are not Trump critics. These were the people who were the biggest fanatics of them all, and they're leaving like it never even happened. Dan Kahan, professor at Yale Law School, calls this identity protective cognition, the tendency to dismiss any evidence that threatens who you believe you are. Admitting Trump was a mistake means admitting their entire identity was a mistake. And that type of pain most MAGA supporters will do anything to avoid. So they say nothing. They stop posting. They skip the rally. They quietly take off the red hat because their pride will not let them admit they were wrong. The movement is collapsing. They just won't tell you. And their silence is deafening.
I think the saddest part about life under Mad King Trump is that it's not like we weren't warned. When the whole ICE situation blew up and we were watching these horrific scenes unfold every day, I thought, this is what the Black community was trying to warn us about during the George Floyd protests. They had already seen firsthand the brutality, the excessive use of force, and the complete erosion of the Fourth Amendment, which paved the way for the blatant racial profiling we're seeing now. But we just didn't listen. And now we have militarized ICE agents everywhere, crawling our streets and even our airports. You know, our law enforcement was emboldened in the inner city during the war on drugs, and the Black community tried to warn us. Millions of them tried to warn us. But we said, that's their problem. What's that got to do with us? Well, it's got everything to do with us now, because the Black community has always been the canary in the coal mine. The problem is we just never seem to listen.
Thank you. Like all this AI, she might be AI. Is she AI?
So the real question is this about silence, or is this about how we?
She can't be AI because I can barely understand what she's saying. But let's go on to something else because that shit drove me nuts. Let's go.
In regards to this, as you know, I'm your host and presenter, Agent Stories. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and let me know what you think about this. So let's watch the video. I'll be back.
Yeah, you people do that.
Always you people.
Every day I need to say the same thing.
Lady, if you have a problem with my skin, you can use the next stop.
I don't have a problem.
Then stop treating me like I'm not a person.
Be quiet.
No, I will not be quiet.
I mean,
You're not gonna bully me into silence, ma'am.
No.
I have rights to be here.
Can you listen to me?
No, I won't. You listen. You've been very rude. You have to stop it.
Okay, let's say you were forced to place a bet for all your money you had. You had to bet which demographic steals more, Black people or white people. Who would you bet on? Let's be honest here.
What are you trying to do?
No, so if you had to place a bet, if you were a betting woman.
I wouldn't know, to be honest. I don't know.
I don't ask racist questions.
You be answering all these racist questions. That's all questions you be asking all the girls. Answer all questions up.
I ask everyone.
Bro, you know what you be doing, bro. Ask me those questions.
Which question?
Whatever question you want to ask, bro. Ask.
I was asking people today about the transgender shooter.
No, I want to know about the Black questions that you be asking these girls about the Black people. You be out here trying to clown Black people. Whatever you want to ask. Don't get...
You're being insultive, and I think that's unfair.
Same rules is for everybody.
I didn't do nothing to you.
There is a sign somewhere.
My volume, you said.
You put the volume down.
You said my volume was loud. I said, I'm sorry. Brought it down.
Yeah, but
and you
then
start
you
talking
need to
about
put
you
it down.
people.
It doesn't...
Why should I turn off? Why should I
you
turn off
say-
my phone for you?
It's not enough if you say
It's
I'm sorry.
rude. It's
you
rude.
don't
No,
put
no.
it down.
It's rude if you talk
Yes,
to me and be
yes,
like,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
you people.
Yes,
That's
yes, yes.
rude.
Yes, yes.
Don't do that to me. I don't know
do that to
you.
me. Don't you do that to me.
I don't know you there.
I don't know you.
That's rude.
It doesn't. That's not the question. The question is the rules is for everybody.
My volume wasn't even
Same
loud.
rules for everybody.
I don't gotta turn off my phone for you. I'm sorry. Did you
No,
turn on my phone?
you don't need to. Close your phone, but put the volume down. That's
You
the
don't.
only
She's
question.
being racist right now.
Every
You
time the
people.
same thing. If you say something, it's for hours.
Are you
Can you
okay?
stop it?
Did somebody hurt you?
Can you stop it? Yeah, you people do that.
Always
every
you
day.
people.
Every day I need to say the same thing.
Lady, if you have a problem with my skin, you can use the next
No,
stop.
I don't have a problem.
Then stop
with-
treating me like I'm not a
Be
person.
quiet.
No, I will not be quiet.
I mean,
You're not
listen.
gonna bully me into silence, ma'am.
No,
I have rights to be here.
Can you listen to me?
No, I won't. You listen. You've been very
Put your
rude.
finger
You
down.
have to stop it.
So we were discriminated against at Verse in North Hollywood.
So basically, we wanted to have like a cute little girls' night out. We went to Verse. We went in there as packed as usual. Normally, when we go, we always get a table. We have dates. It's a good night.
We don't got dates.
We-
Hold on.
Okay, so yeah, we walk in. We're like, okay, the bar is packed. Okay, so we're like, let's go to the bathroom. Or I said, let's go to the bathroom because I already got to pee. And we see this guy that was sitting by the bar in the bathroom because it's a co-ed bathroom. And he was like, hey, I seen you guys looking for seating. Me and my friends were about to leave soon. So as soon as we leave, there's 3 seats. You guys can have them. You know, you guys will be good to go. So I'll flag you when I leave.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so boom. Now we're at the bar. He gets up. We sit down. We're happy.
But you forgot to tell him it was 3 seats.
It was 3 seats at the bar. So me and her sit down. We order our drinks. A blonde woman comes immediately in the 3rd seat. We don't know who she is. She just sits down, whatever. We order our drinks. I swear, like 5 minutes later, Daniel, who is a new manager, comes over and says, hey, ladies, we have reservations for the bar. These 2 seats are taken. So you need to take your drinks and go over there up against the wall and have your drink.
Reservations for the bar, you guys. It is a bar full of people. And out of all the people at the bar, he comes up to us two. We are the only two at the bar in this entire bar of people. So I had to say, so you mean there's reserved seating for these exact seats? What about the lady next to us? Because
so then he then says, I don't know what her situation is. We don't either. But the point is, you came over to us in a very aggressive manner.
Yeah, it wasn't even nice.
You didn't have to say, take your drinks and go over there up against the wall. At least say, hey, ladies, we are taking reservations for the bar. I know you just ordered your drinks. If you can have your drinks, these two are taken. Maybe we'll find you a seat somewhere else. Doesn't do that. Just says, get your drink and go over
stand
there.
Over the wall. Yeah, you're.
So Alan comes over and he just seems combative. And all we want to do was explain the fact that you guys are making a scene at these two Black women who are at the bar just trying to order our drinks.
Yeah.
If you just take care of our drinks, we'll leave. At this point, I don't want to spend any money here. I really don't want to be here. But since you've already caused this scene, take care of our drinks and then we'll leave.
Yeah, they definitely caused a scene.
Manager never comes back. Nobody comes back. We're waiting. So at this point, we're not touching our drinks. I don't want to take a sip. I don't want to spend any money here. They're going to have to figure out that part.
Yeah, because we had ordered drinks early on. So the bartender sees that we're literally not touching our drinks. It's been like 20 minutes. No manager ever comes back. So the bartender, his name was Tab. He was very cool.
Tab was so sweet.
The only bartender that was very genuine and real there. And he was like, hey, ladies, do you want some shots? It's on me. Because he's seen we didn't want to even touch their drinks. And we're like, you know what? At this point, why not?
So we gather our things and we leave. Before I left, this is how I know their names, because I asked him, I tapped Alan on the shoulder and asked for his name and he told me. And then Daniel very sarcastically was like, ladies, you have a great evening. It wasn't necessary, but we will have a great evening. And also, if you are Black people, have you been to Verse and did you have this type of experience?
Yeah, we want to know, because we've been to this place before, but like I said, different circumstances, but I just felt targeted. I felt like it was because we were Black. I absolutely do. We were like pretty much the only ones in there. And it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. We didn't feel welcome. We came there to spend money and we were very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. Will not be back. And
will not.
And want to know, did any other Black people have this experience at Verse LA in North Hollywood?
Imagine being told the entire time that you were growing up that you were second class to a specific race, constantly getting gaslit about the horrendous shit that you and your ancestors went through, getting told that you're always overreacting, that you're always bringing up the past, that it was a long time ago. And imagine that one superior race who thinks that they're better than everybody else tries to flip it on to you, how you guys are actually the savages, how you guys are actually the ones that are the issue. You're starting to put the pieces together? Great. Now you know what it's like to be Black. Being Black in America is honestly so exhausting, because you can't talk about the past because, oh, then you're talking about race. Oh, all you talk about is race. Oh, that happened so many years ago. But then once you stop talking about race and you just are minding your business amongst your own people, they still come over here and bother you. It is literally so insane. Black people cannot win in this country, bro. And that's why I tell y'all to do whatever it is that you want to do. Because white people honestly feel very threatened and very intimidated by us. So the only thing you can do is live your best Black life. They hate to see us thriving. Oh well, we'll cry about it.
African immigrants do not view racism the same way as Black Americans, because we were looking at it from two completely different perspectives. Africans grew up in majority Black nations, Black culture, Black leadership, and Black everything being the norm on a day-to-day basis. It's not the core part of their identity, because everyone is majority Black when they look around. Black is the default. Off rip, they are not looking at things through a racial lens. But Black people in America look at everything through a racial lens, because we are the minority in a country that was built off of our oppression. And the entire system was designed not only to exclude us, but to capitalize off of that exclusion. So systemic oppression is the struggle.
Are we really the minority though? Because I don't feel like a minority. When I go throughout, I do DoorDash, and I don't see nothing but niggas. I'm sorry, nothing but black. Now, in certain areas, you might see an influx of like a certain, but for the most part, where I live at in Dallas, Texas, I see nothing but black people. And they said that Dallas has the biggest group of black people in the whole nation per capita versus like other states. So maybe or Texas or whatever. So it's interesting how like people talk about like that we are the minority, but I don't feel minority. That might be a lie too. Let's go.
That Black Americans are dealing with on the home front. Struggles that people are dealing with in Africa are due to a failing or underdeveloped system. Poverty, corruption, lack of opportunity, economic instability, which is really the legacy of colonialism and neocolonialism. So in their minds, they see America as having a functioning system. They see America as full of opportunity compared to back in Africa. So they come here and they focus on individual advancement, where Black Americans see the system as being historically and currently rigged against us. We are not immigrants. We are people from whom system was explicitly built to oppose. They often see racism as individual prejudice, personal act of meanness or ignorance that can be overcome or ignored on their path to success, where Black people understand that it is systemically embedded feature of law, institution, and economic that create a barrier far beyond individual prejudice. And I think a lot of the disagreement comes from not understanding what something means to be systemic. And something is systemic, a pattern behavior or a culture that is repetitive that many people are perpetuating. Because there are many people in America who are racist and have anti-Black sentiment, and they encompass various positions and roles in America, it makes racism systemic. The system is not a machine, but the individuals who make up the machine. Since so many people are racist, the issue is systemic. They have embedded personal prejudices into the system. Not only that, are passing down this ideology to their offspring, which makes it more systemic. Anyways, so because of the hurdles that they faced back home, often see what Black Americans go through as trivial or frivolous or not as hard as compared to what they went through back home. That's where the ideology that Black Americans are lazy comes from, because they face national systemic instability in their homelands. But what they are not understanding is that what Africa is going through is a core function of systemic racism. It is systemic racism on a global scale. Systemic instability for Black Americans is internal. It's redlining, it's mass incarceration, it's police brutality, it's education inequity. But for Africa, it's the deliberate underdevelopment of the entire continent that is primarily populated by Black people. It's the European powers carving up the continent with no regards for ethnic, linguistic, or cultural boundaries, and the creation of artificial nations primed for internal conflict. It's the exploitation used by Western corporations and financial institutions like IMF and the World Bank, pillaging resources and dictating economic policy through debt. This is economic racism on a global scale. The ideology that justified slavery in America, the belief in white supremacy, and the inferiority of Black people is the exact same ideology that justified the colonization of Africa. Africans say, I came over here and succeeded. Why can't you? They are comparing overcoming poverty caused by global anti-racism, anti-Blackness, i.e. colonialism, to the Black American experience of overcoming poverty by domestic anti-Black racism. We are battling the monsters created by the same beast, white supremacy. One monster was unleashed abroad to destabilize and plunder nations. The other was built at home to control and exploit the population. Defeating one does not mean the other does not exist. It just means you're fighting in a different arena. Anyways, if you're new here, welcome. Almost my entire page is dedicated to deconstructing white supremacy. And this particular topic is the foundation of a new theory that I'm working on called the diasporic division stratagem. And this video is already too long, but I already have an entire playlist dedicated to it, and I will be expanding upon it soon. But basically, the gist of it is white supremacy created all of this friction between Black Americans and people of the diaspora so that we would never come together and fight global white supremacy. But we actually have more in common than we have apart. And our main fight will always be against white supremacy. Now,
and tell that to Tariq Nasheed. Never mind. Okay.
Want us to always remember that.
I decided to go out with some friends yesterday, and I really wanted to dance, but instead of dancing with the regular people that I dance with, I decided to, you know, just try to make new connections and make new friends. So I saw two women at the bar dancing, having a good time. I say, hey, would you guys like to dance with me? They're like, yeah, let's go dance. So we all go to the dance floor, and then there's two girls dancing, and they're so beautiful. Like, they're having such a great time. And then eventually they join with us, and now there's 5 of us dancing. 2 more girls come out of the restroom, and they're like so hype. And now it's 7 of us dancing, and we're all dancing together. And when I tell you, the energy was just high, and it was just very, very beautiful. All of us were Black. So beautiful to see, you know, different types of Black women, different types of Black beauty. Like, it was truly beautiful to be a part of that. You can see that some people were actually admiring it as well. You know, sitting in their sections, like, you can see some people were actually just admiring all of us having a great time. Well, suddenly this guy comes into the circle with this blonde girl, and he nudges me out of the way with his back and the woman that was next to me, because like I said before, we were in a circle. He nudges the woman next to me with his back. He nudges me, and he starts twirling this blonde girl around in a circle, like some sort of like a prop. You know, I thought that maybe I was just reading into things until I looked around me, and everybody else was so confused, like, what is going on? Because the vibes were off. It was just really, really off, you know? We just were trying to really understand what was going on. You know, the guy, he wasn't smiling at anyone. He didn't say hi to anyone. He was just looking at the blonde girl, and the blonde girl didn't say hi to anyone, didn't look up at anyone. She just like twirled in the circle, and then they left. And that was just very, very strange, you know, like they weren't dancing with us at all. The vibes were off. Things went back to normal after they left, and we all started enjoying each other's time and just really vibing and having a great time. Now, I'm saying all this to say, this is what Black women, including myself, experience from time to time. Not all the time. If you are Black, you will know, because for some reason, certain non-Black people feel the need to try to humble you, you know? And what's so funny is that another thing that I notice, now this happens to me personally with white women and Hispanic women. Not all, okay? Not all. I'm not saying all women, I'm not saying all non-Black women are racist, but I'm saying that some are. Some at least feel like they're superior. Every single time that I go out to a cocktail bar, I get hair flipped directly in my face. There's this mindset that certain non-Black women have where they believe that we want their hair. I understand, because of history and white supremacy, that a lot of people believe that they are actually superior, you know, and better than Black people. The world is starting to wake up as to why slavery even existed in the first place. And it's not because Black people were inferior. It's not. You know, at night, I got hair flipped in my face behind this white girl. She looked over her shoulder, saw that I was behind her, and flipped her hair directly in my face. We were taught to not like our hair. We were taught to not like our hair. Like, what is the reason why people try to put a whole race down, you know, make them feel inferior? No one robs an empty home. On on here to speak for myself and my experiences and for the experiences that I know other Black women go through. We never wanted to be white. We never wanted to be white. We never wanted to look white. If a Black woman hates anything about herself, it's because she was taught to hate it. It's because she was taught to minimize herself. And whether people like to hear it or not, it needs to be heard. At the same time that I get hair flipped in my face, those same girls will have this done and lip filler and, you know, all of the facial enhancements and surgical procedures that come naturally with being Black. And I just want to make it clear that I don't absorb any of this. It's mainly just an observation. It's kind of inevitable for me to not experience this because I am Black. And the more and more it's not talked about, the more we can't bring awareness to it. When I go out to genuinely have a good time and make the most of the moment. I don't go out flipping my hair in people's faces, barring my way, being rude and inserting myself in spaces to try to, you know, get people to react to me. All the people that love to do this to try to see if they can get a reaction out of Black women, it is so apparent and obvious. Like nobody there was like, or like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, and it was embarrassing because people realize it's a projection, you know? It doesn't look like, I'm blonde and I'm better than you. It looks like, please be jealous of me. That's what it looks like.
I don't know about everyone, but like me having that talk with my daughter about, you know, people calling her skin weird, ugly. She goes to a predominantly, you know, white nursery. Most of the children.
But hold on, let me just say this, because I've experienced some stuff like this, similar. I have been sitting at a bar with a guy talking, and we're up here vibing with each other, and we're having a good time. And I have had like a Caucasian come up to like us and like just interrupt the entire thing. Like it's almost like, well, what are y'all talking about that y'all so interested in what y'all talking about? It's like they want to be like, it's like, okay, what are y'all talking about? They want to know. We could be up there like vibing, hey, kiki, la la, whatever. And honey, they want to know what are y'all, what is so important. I want to know. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but that is weird, you know. And they will just come in the middle of it like, hey, what are y'all talking about? Like, bro, what? So it's a thing. It's definitely a thing that happens.
Children there are Caucasian, but like, I never ever thought in this day and age that, you know what I mean? Like kids would be coming out with that. Kids would be coming out with those kind of things to other kids. And it just makes me feel really sad that my daughter's going through that. And I just wanted to talk to her and kind of, you know, get it out there because it just doesn't make you feel good. Like, it doesn't make you feel good as a parent. It doesn't make you feel happy. It makes you actually feel sad. Like, it makes me feel sad that my daughter's actually coming home and telling me things that she doesn't really even understand, but it shows from such a young age that, you know, children notice things and say things to each other, and it's just really made me sad. So, you know, I wanted to kind of have a talk with her and just show her that she's beautiful, tell her that she's beautiful. And
story about an experience that you had with blatant racism. So for those of you who don't know, I served in the United States Air Force. So the year is 1984, and I had been accepted to start boot camp for the Air Force, but I needed to wait for another 6 weeks. So during the time that I'm waiting to start Air Force, I take this temporary job through a temp agency. And the temp agency calls me and they say, we have an assignment for you at a law firm. So I prepare myself, and I'm always very professional, and I put on my professional attire, and I show up to the assignment. So when I get to the assignment, it's a very small husband and wife law firm. And so I arrive early and I walk into the law firm and I am met with the wife. And I say to her, I'm here from blah, blah temp agency. And she had an expression on her face that I had never seen before. But this feeling came through my body. So she was a middle-aged white woman, and her husband had not gotten to the office yet. So she tells me to have a seat. Now, this assignment was for me to sit in their front office as a receptionist. The receptionist who worked there on a permanent basis went out on maternity leave, so they went to a temp agency, okay? So she goes in an office that's adjacent to the receptionist area, and I could hear her. She didn't know I could hear her, but I could hear her on the phone, and she had called her husband, and she's trying to figure out how they're going to deal with this person in their front office. Shortly after, her husband arrives to the office and he greets me, and then he goes in the office with his wife, and they try and gently let me know that my assignment has been terminated and that they have reached out to the temp agency. And I think I was there for no more than 30 minutes to an hour. Not one customer had arrived or anything of the sort. And I remember going home to my mom, and I was just like really confused. And you got to understand, I was 19 years old at the time, 18, 19. And I had never been so blatantly, treated in such a way. And so I told her what happened, and she gave me a really good talk about, being Black in America, and that this is the first of many situations that I'm going to have to unfortunately deal with. And in today's climate, it's much different than it was back when I was 19. We don't tolerate those types of behaviors. We speak out more. There's a lot more laws in place, and a lot of things that I don't know. I can't really say that it has diminished racism, but there's a lot more protections in place. Let me just say it that way. The reason I'm sharing this story today is that throughout my life, I'm going to be 60 here, and all of the successes that I've had in life, I went on to serve in the Air Force, and I had a very successful career. I worked my way up to a vice president at my organization, all kinds of things. But I never, ever forgot the look on that woman's face. And throughout my life and my career, I have seen that look. I've seen that look in the grocery store. I've seen that look, just walking down the street. I've seen that look at events. I know the look. We all know the look. Then to share my experience of blatant racism, and that when you see the look or you get that feeling that I got in the law office that day, it's a real thing. It's not your imagination. It's a real thing. Anyway, I love you guys. Have a great day.
We are all racist. Every single one of us who look like me, who are watching this video, we are racist. And let me explain what I mean by that, because if you would have told me that a few years ago, I would have come out of my corner swinging, saying, no way, I am not. I have worked in the criminal justice system for decades, and I've seen the systemic racism there and fought against it. I have biracial children, and I have seen the way the world looks at my children who are of a minority race versus my children who look like me. And I would have said, no way. But here is the thing. The more I learn, the more I realize just how much I don't know. Because there are two types of racism. There's the kind of racism that comes from the hate in your heart. And I don't have that. I never have. And I suspect very many of you don't have it either. But there is another kind of racism that comes from ignorance. And that abounds in my life. Even me, who thought that I knew a lot about seeing systemic racism. But here's what I've learned. The more I learn, the more I realize how unintentionally racist I have been in so many things. And it is on us now, white people to educate ourselves, we're never going to fully grasp what it means to live in a world where you are the minority and where the system has been set up for hundreds and hundreds of years to benefit people who look like me and to oppress people who look like my children. But we have got to educate ourselves. I'm going to start listing several books and documentaries that I've been watching to educate myself. And I hope any of you who really want this world to be a better place, we have got to start with the foundation that all men and women are created equal. And we have got to set new rules for how we move in this society if we're going to have that. I need to apologize to the friends, the clients, the people I interacted with for so many years, because I thought I wasn't racist, and I'm not, as far as the part that comes out of hate, but the part that is born from ignorance. I'm sorry. I should have done better, and I am learning. For those of you who are watching this who are minorities, please put your advice in the comments. Books, documentaries, movies, or just your life experiences. I want to learn, and I want to help others learn, because I don't want you or your children or my children to live in a world that is designed to fail them. Okay, so let's start this series of educating ourselves in order to make this world a better place. Go love your neighbor.
Stop using racism as a way to bond with other white people. And it's something that it doesn't matter where you live in this country. It is so deeply ingrained in society that you will find it. And that's happened with me a lot, is going out and about and people just assuming that I'm conservative, especially when I'm in places in California, and just immediately talking shit, immediately mentioning someone's race when it has nothing to do with the story. Talking about how the area is getting seedier because more people of color are around. Calling an area ghetto, using that term to describe anything that's associated with Black or brown people, or even talking about the most recent DEI hire at your company. Those are all examples of racism, or making ridiculous jokes where race is the punchline, or where being sexist is the punchline. If you participate in these behaviors, you are absolutely enabling bigotry, and you are part of the problem. Even if you're just placating them, you don't actually think it's funny and you think it's wrong, you don't fucking say something. You are a coward, and you are also enabling the problem. You are also adding to white supremacy, even though you're not trying to. If someone is trying to bond with you over racism, fucking shut it down and do not talk to this person again. Racism is a social contagion, and you can play your part to stop it.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. Oftentimes, or majority of times, people come up.
Hey, listen. Check his channel out. You know, it's called Eugene from Kenya. It's interesting that there's a lot of Africans covering racism in America. Why do you think that is? I'm still trying to figure out myself. And so then there's like this whole thing about the white farmers that are feeling like the Black people need to be.
I'm so sick of
the ones to listen. Watch this.
Privilege isn't being white, bonehead. Privilege is living in government housing and calling people oppressors while they pay your fuck without worrying about calling in sick to work because you don't have a fucking job. Privilege is being able to cheat, lie, fail over and over again in life and still get bailed out while people who play by the rules get punished.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but Black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying. Like, that's what you thought.
Hold on, so let me get this straight. The white farmers in Louisianans, they're mad because people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. Let me run that back. White farmers are mad. The very farmers that voted Republican, okay, they voted for this, are mad that people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day.
I am a Republican. I voted for this administration, but my patience is running thin.
The closure of the Strait of Hormuz is causing prices to skyrocket, things like diesel fuel and fertilizer.
Gee, I wonder who caused that.
We're buying a little bit at a time. Sometimes we know that we've only got 2 weeks of fuel. So what has happened to us is not just the impact of 1 year. We have lost customers forever. They will never come back because we're deemed an unreliable.
Gee, I wonder what fuel prices were 2 months ago before all of this stuff started happening. I think those were better times for you.
There's going to be a lot of people that go out of business at the end of the year, either because they have to or because they're tired of losing.
A little bit of a fun fact is that during the 2024 election season, farmers voted at almost 78% for Johnny, meaning 444 farming-dependent counties voted at 78% for him.
Farmers have already been struggling, with rising costs and even tariffs making things even harder.
It's going to be the nail in the coffin for a number of farmers. It's just the straw that broke the camel's back.
Hey friends, are you tired, run down, and listless? Are you terrified from tariffs? Are you pooped out? Do you find tariffs unpopular? The answer to your problem is the guy that implemented these tariffs.
I've supported Mr. Trump this entire way. I'm a supporter of his, but I do not agree with this, and I'm not happy about this at all.
Oh, so you voted for this too?
If President Trump were standing here in this field right now, what would you say?
I'd ask him to stick a sock in his mouth and not say anything for a while.
Get these fuel prices down. Get them down.
Yeah, they're probably not going to come down anytime soon, because there's about less than 3 more years of this administration and we're all in for a wild ride, including you guys that voted him in. That's causing all of the problems that you guys are experiencing, because you guys are playing the game of FAFO. But anyways, have the day that y'all voted for. Bye.
Texas is continuing the F around and find out stage. Guess what just hit 0 before Donald Trump's approval rating? Right there. Farm labor attendance, 0. Entire fields, whole crews are ghosting fields, leaving fruits and vegetables to rot because the Donald Trump administration is too busy playing cat and mouse with people who just want to feed America. To the MAGA people who are saying that immigrants are taking your job, this right here is your opportunity. Pick yourselves up by the bootstraps, get those buckets, and pick those strawberries. No more hiding behind those welfare checks that are padded behind blue state dollars. You wanted the raids, you got them. Now get in those fields and pick those fruits and vegetables before you watch the produce aisle turn to a luxury boutique section. Chop top, MAGA. And that's it.
So apparently they had this group chat or group call where the white MAGA farmers were upset and saying the only reason why they voted for shitty britches was because they thought the blacks didn't have jobs and the blacks would come back and work their fields.
Not shitty britches, though. Hilarious.
Something is unfolding in parts of rural America. Farmers are facing a challenge they didn't fully anticipate. Fields need workers, harvests can't wait. And the question many are now asking is, where will the farm labor come from if black folks cannot work on their farms? We all know that agriculture depends.
Why is it that the Africans are covering this and not black people, not white people? Why is it that it is African? This is interesting to me. Let's go.
Heavily on consistent labor, especially during planting and harvesting season. In many regions, that workforce has long included migrant workers, illegal immigrants, seasonal employees, and experienced labor who turn year after year. This is not accidental. It is built on skill, timing, and reliability. Let's watch some clips here. I'll be back.
Farm owner dudes are saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying. Like, that's what you thought.
I know goddamn well Trump didn't think that we finna get back in the fields. So Trump gonna get his ass on goddamn TV talking about he prematurely deported the illegals that was working in the farms, thinking that us, niggas, was gonna get back out there. Bitch, we already did that, and you see where it got us, huh? We the fresh goddamn race walking. You think we finna buy new Louis Vuittons that we goddamn skipped out on our light bill for? No. Get somebody else to do it. What's wrong? They running short on lettuce that they put on the big bats that you eat every goddamn day? Talking about the inner city people don't want to take the former jobs. What the fuck you thought was gonna happen? You didn't think about this shit before you did it? Well, newsflash, Mr. Trump, we don't even want to go to the goddamn jobs that we got to clock in for. They got AC units. We already complaining before we clock in. So by the show of hands, which one of you go out there and sign up to go work out in them hot ass fields? Yeah, that's what I thought.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
I just seen a guy come from Twitter and say that the white farmers was upset because they thought that the black people was going to be out there in the fields. You better get your mom, your daddy, your auntie, your brother, your sister, your uncle, whoever else, because black people are not.
You're not going to believe this. I saw that someone on Twitter were saying, the white farmers on Twitter were saying that when they had all these mass deportations, that they just automatically thought that they were going to send the black people to work their farms. The black farmers who had already lost their farms and just, other black people because they needed the help and they wanted the government to send them, I guess, criminals so they can work on their farms, so they can keep their farms. Because, me keeping my farm and not caring about you and giving you low wages, that's just the American dream, right? Stop it. Y'all need to stop this. This is just totally ridiculous. Little Johnny, little Susie, all the ones that you're paying all this money because you've gotten all this government money for free. You need to go get them out of college, which is what they used to do in the olden days. Get them out of college, get them out of their little jobs, and get them working that farm on the weekend. There you go. See, I fixed it for you.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
It's just been harder and harder and harder to find those people to work.
Bethany Gotts owns Quay's Farm in Mountain Home, but now with fewer workers, a lot of the manual labor is left up to her. She tells me she's tried hiring locally, but it's been difficult to find people willing to do the hard work.
Finding a legal American here that is going to work as hard as an immigrant is nearly impossible.
She even posted job openings on Facebook.
I had 7 people contact me about it, and when I sent them the description, I had no people respond.
She says hiring undocumented workers is not an option, with serious risks for both sides.
One, you're going to get fined. You have unfortunately, an employee living in fear. They could get picked up at any moment, and then you're without an employee.
To keep her farm running, Gotts is hiring high schoolers and is now looking into the federal H-2A visa program.
I have endeavored to spend $200,000 to build a small worker housing so that I can get H-2 workers next year.
Gotts hopes for long-term solutions that support both farmers and workers.
The misnomer that farmers exploit immigrants is just so sad to me because, like I said, my friends and neighbors, we love our workers. They're our family and they want to work and they will work hard, and there needs to be a path for these people in our country because our government has failed them, and it is failing, I feel.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
I'm on the who's going to care about Nebraska side of TikTok, or does anybody care about Nebraska? And I'm watching white people respond to that white woman like, Nebraska didn't care about Nebraska. Who did you think was going to be in those positions of the immigrants you're losing, blah, blah. And they're missing the point. Nebraskans thought that niggas was going to go back. They thought they had the early 1800s back. That's what you're not seeing. It's not like they didn't think about that. No, they knew, okay, we'll lose our immigrants, but we're going to get our slaves back. And that, my good friends, is the problem.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
So I just saw this video of this white man who's not MAGA, by the way, or at least he says he's not, but because he damn sure selling the look. But he says he has a fake account over on Twitter, and he joined this group of white farmers, and he's pretending to be MAGA just to see what they're talking about. So apparently they had this group chat or group call where the white MAGA farmers were upset and saying the only reason why they voted for shitty britches was because they thought the blacks didn't have jobs and the blacks would come back and work their fields. They thought they were going to get slavery back by voting for shitty britches. But they have been saying loud and proud with their chest the immigrants were taking their jobs. Yet there are a couple of farms here in Texas that overnight lost 100% of their workforce. But immigrants was taking their jobs, right? Racism is expensive, huh?
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
Reparented on a wellness.
Well, let me read exactly what you said. You said every black kid is now just standard. Put on Adderall, on SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. And those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You know, you claimed, in fact, you went on to say, actually, the whole transcript was even worse. You said that if you could, you would send, quote, every black kid, again, your words, not mine, to go live on farms and work. Is that your?
I would have to hear that recording because.
Well, I have the recording.
I have no memory of saying anything like that.
Yeah, well, I actually have the recording that I can give to you, but it is absolutely what you said. And if you want me to play it, I can play it.
But if you ask me what my opinion is, I do not believe that every black kid should be reparented on a wellness farm or whatever. And I have never believed that. Psychiatric drugs, which every black kid is now just standard put on Adderall, SSRIs, benzos, which are known to induce violence. And those kids are going to have a chance to go somewhere and get reparented, to live in a community where there'll be no cell phones, no screens. You'll actually have to talk to people. And the model for this is a community that I had direct contact with because a family member of mine went there, and it's called San Padrano's in Italy. That community is a 10,000 acre farm, and they grow organic food. So the kids eat very, very good food for the first time in their lives. They have a bakery, and the kids work in the bakery. They work in a furniture factory. They have an apparel factory. They have a wallpaper factory. They learn a skill. They learn a trade, and they can stay as long as they want for free. And when they leave, they're placed in a job, but they're taught how to be responsible, how to tell the truth, how to show up on time, how to be reliable, how to be a caring member of a community, to reconnect. So many of our kids today are alienated. They're dispossessed. They have no hope for their future, and the suicide rates are astronomical. Black kids now, they have the highest rate of suicide, and it's one of the highest causes of death among black youth. We need to give kids back, again, hope in our country, hope in their futures, but also a feeling of community and an understanding about how to live in those communities. That they should be in a place where they're getting treatment, where they're getting training, where they're getting job training, life training, and spiritual enlightenment, spiritual enrichment, because that ultimately we have to be able to induce in people who are enveloped in despair. We have to be able to induce in them profound spiritual realignment so that they're living on another plane, so that they understand that that God is out there, that he's watching them, that he loves them, and that they have hope for their lives.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
I saw some of these TikToks, and they said that on Twitter, farmers were saying that they thought after workers were deported that Black people would come to work on their farms.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the Blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but Black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
Well, farming was a term that was used by British social workers to describe a phenomenon that occurred in Britain after the Second World War, whereby the Nigerian immigrants coming to Britain would foster or farm their children out to white working class families. We're talking thousands of Nigerian children all over Britain in order so that they could work and study. And the idea was that once they'd accomplished what they set out to do, graduated, saved enough money, they would then collect their children and return to their native homes. That practice became known as farming. And I was farmed at the age of 6 weeks old to a white couple in the southeast of England, about an hour and a half outside of London. The film, with the same title, follows my journey under that process.
This was unique to Great Britain.
It was. It's peculiar only to Britain and peculiar to only the Nigerian immigrants, because at the time, Britain was going through an economic recession, and it called upon its colonies, the West Indies, India, and Africa to come and help rebuild it. So it was kind of like an expedient labor force.
So how old were you when you were taken to this white couple?
6 weeks old.
And how old were you when you left?
16. And you can imagine at 6 weeks old, my white foster family were my family. My 2 siblings were with me, and within the house there were another about 7 or 8 other Nigerian children from other families. So we all considered ourselves as a family, and our foster families as our parents. And I just grew up there, as you would in Britain during the 70s. The big difference, of course, being the area where we were placed, which was a town called Tilbury Town, was notoriously racist, and they'd never been exposed to Black children or Black people at all. So we were the first Blacks to be, placed in that environment. So it was a very racist right-wing town.
These farm owner dudes, they're saying, well, we thought the Blacks would come back and do the jobs because they don't have jobs. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but Black people have jobs, and you thought you were getting your slaves back is basically what you were saying.
So I know I was talking about, the Latino vote before, the Viva vote for Donald Trump. Okay, well, let's get on to the white folks, the white farmers. So word is out now that the white farmers voted for Donald Trump because they thought they were going to get Black Americans in the fields. Because they also thought Black folks did not have jobs. So when we put this all together, somehow the white farmers were convinced that Black folks don't have jobs. We don't work. we don't work. And so they voted for Donald Trump because they thought, okay, he gonna send them in the fields. So Donald Trump and them, with their whole Project 2025, said, okay, so we got to make this happen. So we got to cut these DEI stuff, all this DEI stuff, to put Black Americans out of work. When in reality, they put a bunch of white folk out of work just to get Black folks out of work. And so all these cuts that are happening are to try and harm Black Americans so much till they think that we're going to go into the fields. Now, when you think about that, that makes you double back and see why they want the Latinos out. Because the Latinos, right, to them, they are reproducing entirely too fast, okay? And so they're like, we got to get them out of here because Black Americans don't reproduce as fast as the Latinos. And so if we could get them out, then the Black Americans can take their place in the field. This is for real. And so now you double back to the Black jobs. They're taking your job. Yes, you got to double back to what he said. They're taking Black jobs, y'all. Like, they have all this down. Like, they have all this whole circle. So now let's go back to the farmers, if you're still with me, okay? Because the white farmers, that's what they believed was going to happen. So if y'all got all that straight, this is a message to the white farmers. The last thing you want is for Black Americans to be in your fields. Don't let the devil fool you. As a matter of fact, you might want to let the devil fool you to see what's going to happen. But I'm trying to tell you, the last thing you ever going to want is Black Americans in your fields. Nah, I'm going to let you fill in the blank on that one. And this goes to show that they will go to any lengths. Remember I said that, first of all, we had the Latinos, some Latinos, not all of them, just them Cuban ones, talk about you're next, right? To Black Americans. So they thought we was immigrants, okay? And so now we have the white farmers who are still living in the 1700s, thinking back to glory days, quote unquote. They thought with their vote, we were going to the fields. So you got one group thinking they gonna kick us out of here, and we got another group of people thinking that we going to the fields. Now this right here is a real mental problem, because people are literally stuck. I'm telling y'all, people are stuck in the 1700s when they think about Black Americans, okay? I'm telling you, their thought process, they sit around probably campgrounds and picnics and stuff and talk about how can we make this happen? That was their heyday. I'm telling you, when that freaking plantation house burned down in Louisiana, I think, right? That was their heyday. Now, I'm trying to tell you, that was their heyday. When that plantation house down in Louisiana got torched, okay? I'm telling you, that broke them. But I just want to, I want to teach them a little bit more history if I have your attention, right? If I have your attention, right? This is some history that a lot of people don't know, okay? But y'all didn't know Black Americans had white servants? Y'all ain't know that? I mean, it wasn't widespread or anything like that, but we had white servants. Yeah, and they wanted to be our servants because they needed work. They were coming over from Europe. Yeah, and they were docile too. Yeah, they were docile. And Black Americans, the aristocrats, the wealthy ones, because they were wealthy ones, okay? They had white servants. So I don't know if y'all ever see them pictures. Let me find a picture. I couldn't find a picture. I wasn't gonna go back and try to find a picture, but if you can watch videos, you'll be able to find a picture of possibly some Black people in the horse-drawn carriages, and there may be someone white as the horseman or the coach. I'm not sure what you call them, coachman or whatever. Yeah, he worked for them. Yes, indeed. It was a big thing. It was a big thing, when everybody began to see in the early 1900s, what? Black Americans, they use the other word. Black Americans have white servants. Yeah, that's a bit of history they don't like to put on TV. And the reason for it is because they were like, okay, they had, white people here that they could hire. And they also had Black people here that they could hire. But they felt that the white people from Europe were so docile, and they were less expensive. Now, they weren't the only ones who thought that. The wealthy white people thought that too. The wealthy white people were like, yeah, we like the docile immigrant white people. They're a lot cheaper. They take less money. Yeah, so there's a bit of history for you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was like that. Oh yeah, because they knew they would have to pay Black Americans a lot more. Lot more. So they always went for the immigrant. And see, when the Black Americans hired the white immigrants, they were like really, really like, yes, we will do it. Yes, we will do it. Because they want to stay in America. Here's the difference. Here's the difference though. Black Americans didn't mistreat them. They didn't mistreat them at all. But anyway, that's just a little side note. But yeah, to the white farmers again, this is the last thing you want. The last thing you want is for Black Americans to be out in your fields. The last thing you want. Trust and believe. And next time, you know what? Stop basing your vote on how to harm Black Americans, because you're going to end up running into that wall that's going to tumble. Okay? That's what's going to end up happening. Stop doing that. All of you do it. Like all of you. You had the conservative Asian Americans coming through with the whole Ivy League school. We don't want Black Americans there. Then you had the I will vote for Donald Trump Cubans, okay, who were thinking, okay, you're next, okay? Okay, we're not immigrants, so we're not next. And now we have the white farmer who thought that they were going to get the Black Americans in the fields. And then this is all off of Project 2025. So now look where you got America. Look where you got the United States of America. And you know, a lot of people say, why Black Americans think everything revolves around them? No, y'all think everything revolves around us because y'all make everything revolve around us. Y'all stuff coming out.
When immigration enforcement becomes stricter, or when policies shift, the labor pool can shrink. And when that happens, farms may struggle to find enough workers, crops risk going unharvested, and cost can rise. Because agriculture is not just about land, it is about people. One of the biggest misconceptions is that
I'm not going to listen to her read AI. I can't stand that shit. People read the AI as if they're the ones saying it. You're reading AI. I don't like that shit. So, but let's check this one out. Watch this one.
Poverty, aid, or conflict. But what if the opposite turns out to be true? A professor called Chang Shui-Chin believes Africa could become one of the most important regions in the future global system, not because of charity, not because of aid, but because of power.
She's reading AI, but okay.
If this is the first time you're seeing me, my name is Noreen, and this is Real Africa Stories. Professor Chang Shui-Chin studies historical patterns in global politics and how shifts in power between countries shape the future. Some of his predictions about rising tensions between global powers and the future direction of the United States have gained attention online. But what caught my attention most is what he says about Africa. Before we go further, I want to say something. I'm not a geopolitical expert or a professor. I'm simply someone who enjoys researching history, ideas, and stories and sharing what I discover. Think of me as an independent and curious person who reads, learns, and then brings those discoveries to you so we can explore them together. So his first big idea is this. Africa could become one of the central arenas in global politics. The world is slowly shifting away from a system dominated by one global power. Instead, we are seeing several centers of influence emerging. The United States, China, India, and countries in the Gulf. And many of them are increasingly looking toward the same place, Africa. Why? Because Africa holds many of the minerals needed for modern technology. Many of the materials used in smartphones, electric cars, and modern batteries come from African countries. Minerals such as cobalt, lithium, and rare earth elements. Africa also sits along some of the most important global trade routes, and its population is growing faster than any other region on Earth. In other words, Africa may not remain on the sidelines of global politics, could move much closer to the center. Another thing Professor Chung points out is about bargaining power. When several powerful countries compete for influence in the same region, that region can sometimes gain leverage. If multiple global powers want partnerships in Africa, African governments have more room to negotiate. Infrastructure from one partner, technology from another, trade agreements from another. Competition between powerful countries can sometimes give African governments more space to negotiate better deals. And then there's another factor that's really important. Africa is already the youngest continent on Earth. And by the end of this century, nearly 1 in 3 people on the planet could be African. At the same time, populations in parts of Europe and East Asia are aging rapidly. That means Africa could eventually become one of the largest workforces in the world and one of the biggest consumer markets. Just imagine that for a second. Cities across Africa growing rapidly, young populations entering the workforce, new industries emerging, new markets forming. That kind of demographic shift doesn't just change a continent, it can change the balance of the world. By the way, I'm curious, when you think about the future of the world, do you imagine Africa playing a bigger role? Or do you think the world will keep overlooking the continent? In the year 1900, almost the entire African continent was under colonial rule. By the 1960s, most African countries had gained independence. And by the end of this century, Africa could hold nearly 1/3 of the world's population. So when people talk about Africa's future, they're really talking about one of the biggest historical shifts in human history. What's fascinating is that this idea isn't actually new. Some African thinkers were saying something similar decades ago. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah believed Africa's real strength lies in its resources, geography, and people. He argued that if African countries cooperated economically, the continent could become one of the most powerful regions in the world. So when Professor Chang talks about Africa's future importance, in many ways, he's echoing ideas Africans themselves have been discussing for years.
Everyone wants to say that Africa is not a viable resource or a viable place. It's a shithole. We're going to see. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see. Let's go.
We don't have enough race pride. It seems as though we gave up. We gave up and just, our restaurants, we had restaurants, inns, and when we could go to their inns, then we forgot that man. In fact, I've had friends to call colored restaurants the one that I'd go to this evening if I were taking New York for dinner. I'd go to it. They call it the Greasy Spoon now. They can't, I don't understand us. That's the part I don't understand. We don't have enough race pride. That's what I see.
Black folks have given up, just like I said. Let's go.
This is mine.
I watch a lot of documentaries on YouTube of a lot of neighborhoods in Chicago. And in them documentaries, you see a lot of young kids in the videos. That lets you know that parents done gave up on their kids. You don't love your kids enough to do all you can to keep them out the streets. You let these 13, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 14-year-olds hang in the street with switches bigger than them. The gang members that's older than them don't care. They want them to come after them and keep the blocks going, keep the drugs flowing in the neighborhood. But yet them young boys don't know they're going to lose their life and get a lot of time at an early age. Don't none come in the streets but death or jail. Why you think we lose so many young folks? It's because they mindset or the people they follow, peer pressure. They can't wait to have money. Their mama might be struggling, their daddy might not have no money to buy the things they need or to take care of them. They don't want to go to school and lead a community and get an education and come back and build their community up. They'd rather tear their communities down. And that's what our people are doing. Get your kids out these streets. Do all you can to save your children. Don't say you don't know about it. You know. You just done gave up on your future.
Honestly, I'm getting a little tired. I'm getting tired of being one of the women that will say to men, like, you deserve to feel your emotions. You deserve to understand your emotions. You need to be able to process and explain what they are. And the way that the world has viewed you, the way that your parents have taught you, isn't the healthiest way, because now you've internalized all of these negative feelings and thoughts about how you should and shouldn't be, while also making it very difficult to be partners with anybody. And as a Black therapist, as a Black psychologist, as a Black person that understands and can rationalize the psychiatry behind everything, I understand why many Black women therapists are now saying that they don't want to really work with Black men, because it just seems as though y'all don't really want to work with yourselves. Y'all don't want to work on yourselves. Y'all want to continue playing the victim of, oh, well, society doesn't look at this. Well, then change the narrative. We all have the ability to change the narrative of what our situations are, but it just seems as though Black men are so content with sticking with the status quo. Either they're afraid of what they could accomplish, what people will think about them, or how the world can actually change because they've decided to do this for themselves, and then share that with other Black men and encourage them to do the same. That they're just choosing not to do it. And I've said this all the time, where men will say, oh, women create soft sons. Well, fathers, when you speak to your sons in a way and you tell them that the world doesn't care about them, they internalize that. And they're going to think that no one in the world cares about them. And how do you expect them to actually pair with anybody if you consistently tell them that no one really cares about them? At this point, I'm getting to the point where the only Black men that I need to be worried about are those that came out of my body. But then you have men that get on the internet and say, Black women don't care about us. They don't care about our thoughts or our feelings or what we've been through. How the hell are we supposed to actually understand what you've been through if you don't ever fucking talk? How do we understand and get to know who you are if you don't ever have a clear understanding of that yourself? How do we get to help you in this journey if you don't even know how to explain it? At this point, I'm ready to give up. I'm ready to give up on y'all. I really am. And only care about the ones that came out of my body. And perpetuate exactly what you think. Black women don't care. I'm at that point. And it makes me sick. So congratulations. You won. You just made one more Black woman not care. I don't know if that was your end game or not, but that's the result that you get. But as for my sons, they're going to be better than this generation of men.
Man, it's so much to unpack. It's so much to unpack. People are just giving up. Just like I said, it's a lot to unpack. Let's go.
What's it going to take for Black people to give up on this country? Okay, now wait. I know that so many Black people are going to say, oh, but my ancestors built this country. They put their sweat and tears into this ground. We belong here. This is our divine right to stay here because we did all our ancestors work for us to be here. Listen, hey, our ancestors were kidnapped. They were brought here against their will. Many of them jumped into the ocean before they got here, and I guess they wouldn't be our ancestor because they wouldn't have gotten here. But they did not want to be here is what I'm trying to say. And when they were here, they were forced to build the thing. Yeah, they built it, but not because they wanted to. So why do you feel like that they would want you to be here more than they would want you to leave? Like the ancestors, the original ancestors who were literally that were kidnapped and brought on the boat, those ancestors, what do you think they would want? Do you think they would want you to stay here, or do you think they would want you to go back to the motherland? Go back to their homeland, go back to where they were raised, where they grew up, go back to understanding their cultural practices, understanding how they practice spirituality. Like, why is that? Why do you not care about those ancestors? Why do you only care about the ones that just most recently were fighting for, civil rights and things? And here's the thing, like, okay, we did all that fighting to get rid of end of slavery, won that. But we really didn't. They're still enslaving Black bodies in prisons. They just do it behind bars instead of in fields. They did all that to, then there was sharecropping. I don't know if you guys remember sharecropping right after slavery. It was, you can work for the land, which was just another version of slavery. And then they ended sharecropping, and then they had the whole civil rights. You guys, you can't drink here, you can't sit here, you come in this restaurant, and what they did, the picnics, and all of the stuff they did there, and we had to fight to get that taken care of. And then after they got rid of civil rights, they did redlining to ensure we couldn't get financial help to get homes, so that we didn't have, first of all, they never gave us our 40 acres and a mule after slavery, and they promised we would get that. Never got that. They're never going to give us reparations. They never can give us reparations, because if they gave us what they owed us, they would have to give us the entire country, which they're not going to do. Okay, so then after civil rights was over, they did redlining, and then after redlining, they did the credit system. Then they did the education system. They put a tuition, and then again, till this day, they have the school to prison pipeline. Like, they have every step of the way, they have put something in place to stop Black economic growth. And they're like, whenever we said, okay, forget all your systems, we'll build our Black Wall Street, we'll build our Rosewood, we'll build Atlanta. And what do they did? Burn down Black Wall Street, dismantle Rosewood, and now they just built that the biggest police training facility in all of America right beside Atlanta. Y'all think that's a coincidence? No, no matter what we do, they are going to figure out a way to stop us from being successful in this country, because we do not have the political power in this country. We can try to get economic power. We can try to use our power in any way I can, but they're going to put psychological factors in front of us. They're going to put out propaganda in the media. They're going to do whatever they can to keep us down. And it's not like we know racism is expensive. Like, if they actually let Black people thrive and uplift and gave us opportunities, this country would flourish. But they don't care about, they care about money. That is one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is white supremacy. They love, they enjoy, they feed off of feeling superior to the Black race. They have no sense of self-worth without having that hierarchy and without having Black people on the bottom of that hierarchy. So there will never be a time and there has never been a time in American history, and there will never be a time going forward that Black people will truly be free in this country. So why don't we just give it up? Give it up, let it go. Like Africa, I was recently, like, on one of my lives, I looked through every, well, not every, but almost every country in Africa, and almost every country in Africa has a beautiful city that we could live in. Nairobi, beautiful. Botswana, beautiful. Accra, Ghana, beautiful. Nigeria, obviously beautiful. Like, sure, they have corrupt governments, but who doesn't at this point? I'm just saying, like, who don't got a corrupt government? If I'm gonna be in a country with a corrupt government, I'd rather be in a corrupt government full of Black people than a corrupt government full of white people, if I'm being honest. You know, and at least it's cheaper over there, you know? So, I'm leaving as soon as I can, because especially this administration, their goal is to get slavery back. That's their end goal, because what is capitalism, right? Other than getting as much profit as possible for as little expense as possible. And what is cheaper than free? What is cheaper than free labor? I'll wait. And who do they like to do free labor? Who do they want to do the free labor? So I need all of my Black people to because, like, if all of us got up and left, especially all at once, this country would crumble. Like, it's already crumbling, but they wouldn't be able to use our Black innovation. They would not be able to use our Black bodies to fund their prisons, to fund their slavery systems. They would not be able to use our musical energy to create their music that they end up stealing and turning into their whatever, their whiteness. They would not be able to use our fashion sense. They wouldn't be able to use all of our energy, which they've been harvesting our energy for 400 years, y'all. Our energy, our minds, our spirits, our bodies, literally, they've been using us as extracting resources out of our being as a population for 400 years. They never stopped, and they're never going to stop. We have to go. We have to pack our things and leave. So I think that's it. I just want people need to stop saying my ancestors built this country, so I deserve to be here, or I'm entitled to be here. Good luck. That's all.
I'm going to say this, is that this stuff also bleeds into relationships. This type of mentality is the very thing that is ruining our relationships. There is a whole thing called anxious avoidance. You see, here's the thing. All these things culminate into why we are having a hard time in relationships. Let me show you something. I'm gonna find it. Let me find it. Because I think that we don't even realize we have such a. We're wondering, like, why we're fighting each other, right? We wonder why, we can't be in a positive relationship. But all this stuff really culminates down to this.
Are you somebody with the anxious attachment style in a relationship with somebody who has more of a avoidant, fearful attachment style? Are you constantly trying to get them to love you, show up for you, but they're just like, nah, let's get into it, okay? So here we have the most common relationship style that I see in my couples therapy as a therapist is anxious and avoidant. Okay, this is the most common blend I think a lot of people don't talk about. And it's hard to be in a relationship where one person is like wounded, hurt, has had so much trauma that they have a wall up. Okay, but then you have someone over here who's also been hurt, but their hurt shows up as, I need you to show up for me. I need you to love me. I need you to prove to me that I am worthy. Okay. In essence, to me, that is an anxious attachment style with someone trying to.
Let me explain why I believe that this is it all works together. It's because When you have people living in a society like this is where you end up with relationships like this. This is the reason why people are not even staying married. They're not all this stuff culminates into even why the birth rates are so low. When you have like this stress, like this type of environment, this is the outcome right here. It bleeds over into your male and female relationships. Let's go.
Get their self-worth from people, places, and things. And this example, a relationship. Okay. The only way that this relationship is really going to work is if you stop trying to get this person to prove their worth to you. Okay. There is no way that this person can be a blanket for everything you are looking for, everything you are needing. You have to work on that pain, that need for constant reassurance, that self-worth that was not given to you as a child, poured into you. You have to work on that in your own therapy. Okay. The more you try and get this person to come over here. Yeah, I'm good. No, but love me. Look, I bought you a gift. Look, pay attention. And they're like, yeah, I see it, but still, I'm not there. You can't change this person. So many times, anxious attachment style people, sometimes I see are constantly trying to, I can change them. Just come over here. Come to my side. And they're just like, I'm not ready. But you don't want to hear me. You don't want to hear me tell you that I'm not ready because you're so caught up in your own needs. You're so caught up in, as an anxious attachment style, that's what your thing is, having your self-value, your worth proved through things outside of yourself. And so it's not going to work in a relationship. And you probably butt heads a lot with your partner because you're constantly wanting more and more and more, and they're not able to give it to you. They're probably not able to give it to themselves as an avoidant person, an avoidant attachment style, because they haven't done the work on themselves. There's so much hurt from past relationships, so many things from maybe family relationships, romantic partners, even friendships. They've been hurt so much that they're not ready. Okay. But instead of seeing that they're not ready, you continue to try and be you. Okay. And it's going to only become more and more difficult because you cannot fix them. You have to work on yourself. People go into relationships so much trying to fix, trying to make their partner's projects. Okay. And it can't be like that. You can't go into a relationship thing like, I'm going to be the one to change them. All they need is me. And see, now that once again is filling up your cup, because you get all your value from outside things. And so making your partner a project is filling up your self-worth because you see the remnants of like, oh, they're doing better at work now. They're opening up a little bit. Okay. Because of me. Okay. And that can probably start to trend a little bit into maybe some narcissistic stuff a little bit, but it's more about, I feel whole, I feel worthy now that you are doing better. And so
when I'm bringing this up is like, when you talk about all this stuff going on in the Black community, now you see why our relationships are fucked up. And then you see like this attachment thing going on. You have one person running from attachment, one trying to be attached, you know? This is the problem in our community. This is what's happening. And this stuff is going back into time. And now it is manifesting itself into what we see right now in relationships.
You have to do your separate work, okay? Work on yourself, they work on themselves, and then possibly maybe go to couples in the middle.
Honey, half the time this stuff cannot be healed unless both people get some sort of therapy. Black people need to start going to therapy. We need therapy, period. There's been just too much going on in our community that we cannot be in a successful relationship without therapy. All of the things I talked about before, how there's like this like overwhelming feel of giving up, of just all these things that are happening within the community. You have all these like just triggers outside this, that, the other. How could that not be affecting us as a whole and in general within our relationships? See, now Africa, they're thriving. They're having children left and right. But we are over here like, man, I don't want to. You have more and more women just saying, I don't want to. I'm done. Why? It's because we have been damaged to a certain degree. I was on a panel yesterday, 2 days ago, on Tommy Sotomayor, and we were talking about the hood prom, and they were talking about how women, or people dress up for prom, and how the parents do this and that. And the focus was, well, these people don't have enough money to do that. How dare they express themselves in a creative way? And this, they just need to do basic prom. We're so busy trying to impress everyone else. We are willing to just demonize parents that want to go the extra mile for their child, for their prom. If you don't have the money, just say you just don't have it. But don't get mad when someone else has it, and invest that money into making their child have a good time at their prom. And I got demonized for even just saying like, well, nah. And honey, I was holding my tongue back the entire time. I really wanted to go all the way in, but you know what? It's his platform. I will allow him to do that. I will talk my shit on mine. Please go and check that live stream out, because they were all pretending like I had gotten cooked on that whole thing. But no, trust me, I was holding back. If I really would have said what I wanted to say, I'd be like, man, bump all that. Half of you guys don't even know how to attach appropriately. Half of the men that are in relationships do not even know how to love their own partner. They don't even love them. They just settle. People are settling. There's a difference between love and settling. They might love something about that person, but they're settling for the basic just because that's what they feel like it should be. It should be. Marriage is no longer sacred. Families are no longer upheld. And we wonder why we're in the predicament that we are. People do not give a shit about marriage anymore, families, nothing. Even procreating is like a thing that was made into like a Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood. Now, since when was parenthood planned? God didn't say be fruitful and plan to multiply. He just said be fruitful and multiply. He didn't say make a plan. Because God take care of women, children, and fools. Man, let me tell you something. The most fruitful I've ever been was when I was either pregnant, about to have a baby, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? My best years of my life was when I had my children. When I look back on being single, without child, without anything, that was probably some of the worst time in my life. But having a child is so a blessed event. But we have demonized even giving birth. I don't know. Let's go.
Okay. I always encourage everyone to do their own separate work and come to couples together. Okay. That's the only way I think that these two different attachment styles can be in a relationship is if they work on their stuff separately. and do the work outside of the therapy sessions, okay? Now, if this is you, let me know. Are you anxious? Are you avoidant?
See, here's the thing, is that people don't even realize they might be anxious or avoidant. They don't even realize that they might be a certain type of a personality type, you know? They might be putting their partner through hell and have no idea. They're pulling away while the other person is trying to get closer to them. And you know what it says? What they said is that this type of relationship cannot sustain itself without therapy. Imagine how many married couples get divorced after years of this relationship style. That if they probably would have gotten therapy, it could have worked out. And so the reason why I segue into this is because I believe that this is a big problem in especially the Black community. I don't think that we realize that we have like a combination of anxious and avoidant attachment like cues within us. I'm going to like show a video describing anxious and avoidant attachment style relationships. And you tell me how much this might have hit home, okay? Let's go.
There are so many ways to be unhappy in love, but one kind, which modern psychology has given particular attention to, are relationships, very high in number, in which one of the parties is defined as avoidant in their attachment patterns and the other as anxious. Attachment theory is the term given to a set of ideas about how we love and the role of childhood therein, originally developed by the English psychologist John Bowlby in the 1950s and 60s. It divides up humanity into three categories according to our varying capacity to behave with confidence and trust in relationships. Firstly, there are those who are securely attached, who had reliable and good childhood experiences, and now expect to be positively treated by those they love. Fortunate types who are capable of empathy and generosity and communicate with honesty and directness about their needs. Around 50% of the population is assumed to be securely attached. This leaves two fascinating deviations from health, caused by some form of early parental letdown and trauma. The first kind of attachment pattern is known as avoidant, the second as anxious. What makes things even more complicated and very combustible is that avoidant and anxious people are frequently drawn to forming couples. It's part of their pathology, couples where their varied emotional quirks contribute to an exceptionally fraught situation. An anxiously attached person in a relationship will have the characteristic feeling of not being properly appreciated or loved. They would, they tell themselves, like so much more closeness, tenderness, touch, and sex, and they're convinced that such a union could be possible. The person they're with, however, seems to them humiliatingly and hurtfully detached. They never seem to want them with as much intensity as they offer them. They're hugely saddened by their coldness and distance, and gradually fall into moods of self-loathing and rejection, feeling unappreciated and misunderstood, as well as vengeful and resentful. For a long time, they might keep quiet about their frustrations, until eventually desperation erupts. Even if it is a very inappropriate moment, perhaps they and their partner are exhausted and it's past midnight. They won't be able not to insist on addressing the issues right now. Predictably, these sort of fights go very wrong. The anxious lover loses their calm. They exaggerate and drive their points home with such viciousness that they leave their partner convinced that they must be mad or mean. A securely attached partner might know how to soothe the situation, but an avoidant one certainly doesn't. Tragically, this avoidant party triggers every insecurity known to their anxious lover. Under pressure to be warmer and more connected, the avoidant partner instinctively withdraws and feels overwhelmed and hounded. They go cold and disconnect from the situation, only further ramping up the partner's anxiety. Underneath their silence, the avoidant one resents feeling, as they put it, controlled. They have the impression of being got at, unfairly persecuted, and disturbed by the other's neediness. They may quietly fantasize about going off to have sex with someone else completely, preferably a total stranger, or just of going into the other room and reading a book, but probably not one about psychology. It helps immensely to
What do you say? With everything going on in the world, Blacks are in survival mode. And this leads to this type of relationship style. I'm trying to tell y'all. And you might not even realize that you're in this cycle. Trust me, I've been in the cycle plenty of times to know. At some point, I had to figure it out. Like, why am I doing the same thing over and over again? And I had to bring it up to the forefront. Like, okay, this is a repeating thing for me. I wonder if it's the same thing for other people. And everyone I know have this same kind of like situation.
know that this is not your relationship only. This is a type, and there are, quite literally, millions of them unfolding on the planet at any point. Even better, the causes of the distress, which feels so personal and so insulting, are in fact general phenomena, well studied and mapped by sober researchers in lab coats. The solution, as ever, is quite simply knowledge. There is an immense difference between acting out on one's avoidant or anxious impulses and, as would be so much more preferable, understanding that one has them, grasping where they came from, and explaining to ourselves and others why they make us do what we do. We cannot, most of us, be wholly healthy in love, but we can be something almost as beneficial. We can grow into people committed to explaining our unhealthy, trauma-driven behavior in good time, before we have become overly furious and hurt others too much, and apologizing for our antics after they've run their course. There are few things more romantic in the true sense than a couple who have learned to tell one another with wit and composure that they have been triggered in an avoidant or an anxious direction, but are doing everything they can to get on top of things and hope to be normal again in a little while.
How many people have heard of this? How many people in my audience know that there is a such thing as an anxious attachment and an avoidant attachment? How many people do know that? People just think, I just went through so much stuff. You know what I'm saying? No one knows there's actually a diagnosis for this whole thing. There's a whole world out here about this entire situation, and it could save so many marriages. And with all this stuff going on, relationships falling apart, red pill, blue pill, green pill, orange pill, that if we were to actually address our attachment style in relationships, then we would be able to then have better and more sustainable relationships, because we'll realize, we need to go to therapy. Something happened when I was a child that fucked me up, whatever, or the world, or I'm Black, or whatever the issue is. Whatever our issue is, we don't address our issues with therapy. We just go through life, white knuckling it through life, and we have no tendency to seek any help outside of our own mind, and we think that we can handle it, and we don't. We're not handling it. That's why our relationships suffer. That's why marriages suffer. We people were talking about Megan Thee Stallion and whatever. How do you know that this was not just an anxious avoidant versus avoidant? How do you know this? why people want to like make it about Megan being a hoe? Well, why is she a hoe? Right? Why would she be a hoe? Why would anybody want to be a whore or a hoe or be seen as a hoe? What is she doing? Is she getting in our relationships rapidly and it seems like she's a hoe? Does she really care about these people, or is she just being a hoe, just getting it in with everybody? Even if she is, why is she doing that? Why would a person do that and be demonized all across the whole entire internet? Everybody just wants to like say, "Oh, she's a whore, she's a hoe, she's this, she got it in with this one, that one." But why? Did she actually like these guys at some point and thought something was going to work out, or was she just being like getting trains ran on her? I don't believe that she did. I believe that she at one point when she met this guy, she probably thought it was going to work out. Met that guy, thought it was going to work out. Met that guy, and just didn't work out. Why? There's something going on in our community when it comes down to relationships, especially the younger generations. They seem to be just jumping in and out of stuff. They seem to be with this label, with what we call it being a promiscuous. And why would a person be promiscuous? Why did they do this? There's something about the attachment style that we are not looking at. And I'm one to say that we need to cut it out, like with all this demonization of stuff. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Men Talk Show. Connor Beaton here. Imagine a relationship, just for a moment. Imagine a relationship that is a constant roller coaster of highs and lows, leaving you emotionally exhausted, but for some reason, you're hooked. You're in. It's almost like you are addicted. You love them so much and you're so connected, and then there's massive disconnection. Likely the sex is great, or even if it's not, you just can't seem to pull away. This is the classic avoidant, anxious push-pull. And it is usually more defined by the duality and the dual experience, the juxtaposition of massive affection, getting what you want, feeling close, feeling desired, feeling loved, and then withdrawal. Affection and withdrawal, affection and withdrawal. And you go through this cycle over and over and over again. What I'm going to talk to you about in this video is not only learning how to identify it, but learning what to do with this cycle and how to get out of it, regardless of where you are on the spectrum. Maybe you're not an avoidant person. Maybe you're not an anxious person. Maybe it's just like this dynamic that shows up in.
Let me tell you something. It's not like a male, like a woman's always attached or a man's always avoided. The woman could be avoided. The man can be attached. It happens all the time. So let's just be real about this. There are these dynamics that happen in relationships, and we need to address this because, like, there's something going on here. And the only reason why I'm saying it is because I'm going through it my damn self. I wouldn't even tell you something that I don't even know about my damn. I've been through it. So let's go.
Your relationship. So let's dive into it. A couple of things. Number one, what contributes to this dynamic are oftentimes the attachment styles of the two people. There's almost always a pattern that's showing up in your life that is familiar to something in your past, right? This doesn't occur in a vacuum. This is something that you have either experienced before or it's something that a part of you wanted. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you are the person who has the affection and you feels the...
Wow, divorced 3 times and wow, only 55. So I don't know whether you might be the avoidant or the other person might be, but check this out, guys.
Closeness, and then you start to withdraw, it's very likely that you grew up in an environment where love and affection and praise was given to you and then taken away, given to you and then taken away. Or that love and affection and praise or validation, or closeness was something that you deeply craved. And so when it shows up, it feels foreign and your system doesn't know what to do with it, and you start to withdraw and pull away. The other version of this is usually a little bit more of the anxious side, which is that when the love and affection starts to show up, it feels so good. You love it. You really start to kind of bask in it. And all of a sudden, very quickly sometimes for some of you, you shift into this space of, I don't want this to go away. I never want this to stop. This closeness, this connection, this affection, this love, this care, this embrace that I feel right now, I don't want it to leave. And so what do? You start to squeeze tighter. You start to text more. You feel your energy starts to get a little on edge. You're like a little too close to that person and you won't pull yourself away. And you know that every part of you is saying, just relax, just calm down, just take a breath, like give them some space. But for some reason, you just find yourself like curled up in their lap, and you won't let go. I've seen this happen for men and women. I've worked with tons of clients that are guys, where they're just like, she starts to give me some love and affection, and I can feel every part of me. It's almost like I want to bear hug her and never let go. And as soon as that comes online, as soon as I act in that way, I can feel her wanting to run. So your attachment style plays into this. If you're more anxious.
Man, remember like back in the day, there was a cartoon. Was it Pepe Le Pew? It was Pepe Le Pew, and he was a skunk, and he was in love with a cat. And every time he would try to love the cat, he'd be like, oh, me and my Sherry. And the damn cat would be just like, oh, get up off me. John, be running. This is what's happening. Take heed, guys. Pay attention.
Then you're contributing to the affection and the withdrawal, likely by being over affectionate, being over communicative, love bombing that person. When there's a nice amount of affection and connection and closeness that starts to happen, you start to cling on. You start to say things like, I never want this to stop. And you can tell that the other person.
You said Pepe Le Pew was a predator. Pepe Le Pew was just a skunk that wanted some love. Why he gotta be a predator? He was a skunk. He wanted love from the cat. He thought she was a skunk too. But she wasn't a skunk, and she was a cat. She was like, man, what the hell? What the hell? Who is this damn skunk trying to give me love? Ew, get the heck up off me.
Person is like, just enjoy this and stop talking about how you never want this to end. Like, relax. It's that type of commentary that starts to show up from the anxious side. And again, that has roots in your past. And for the avoidant person, it's the threat of closeness. The hard part, I know you avoidants get a hard time. You get a hard rap out there, man. But for the avoidants that are out there, the things that I think most people miss is that the closeness and the connection that avoidants desire, right? The people that are avoidant, but that really want a relationship to work, the closeness and the connection that you desire is simultaneously the threat. And so the closer you get to love and affection and closeness and connection and ease, the more threatening it feels in your system. And the harder you're going to have to work for a period of time to remind your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, whatever it is you want to say, that it's safe and it's okay. So your attachment style can contribute to this affection withdrawal cycle that plays out. If you have trauma, it can play into that. If you have a fear of intimacy and vulnerability, it can also play into that. Now, what are the signs that this is happening? There's some very clear signs that this cycle is playing out in your relationship. The main one being the fluctuating levels of affection and attention. There's hot and there's cold. And the extreme version of this is like, maybe you've heard the term trauma bond online, but the extreme version of this is like your trauma meets their trauma.
Oh, no, Tanika, thank you so much for the love, man. I appreciate you 100%. Thank you so much.
I am blessed to make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money, manifest making money, money making money, money making money, money making money.
Yes, thank you for the cash app. I appreciate you. All right, let's go. Let's hear more about how these attachment styles are. Let's go.
And gets hooked in, and usually it's wild and it's passionate, but it's explosive, right? And so it's like, two magnets coming together and there's sparks everywhere. And then, it's pushed into the other corner. And for some reason, you keep coming back into the middle of the ring and you can't stop. But the fluctuating levels of affection and attention are one of the main things, right? You might feel like you love being around that person and you spend, a date or 2 dates or a day or two, and all of a sudden you find yourself like, get away from me, like, give me some space. And then a day or two goes by, or 3 or 4 days go by, and all of a sudden you're like, I really want to be around them again. And then, the whole cycle plays out again, right? This, I want to be close to you, get away from me. I want to be close to you, get away from me. And on the other side, it's usually, I want to be close to you. I am close to you. I never want this to stop. I am close to you. I never want this to stop. And then the pain of the separation and the space. And there's this kind of constant push and pull. So the last piece is the emotional stability. I've kind of been hinting at that. Maybe you've noticed, but there's a big amount of emotional instability that coincides with this push and pull dynamic, with this affection and withdraw dynamic. So those are some of the main signs of the cycle. How you start to break the cycle is as follows. Number one, you need to gain some self-awareness of identifying the patterns that you are embodying that are contributing to this push-pull dynamic. You need to identify your patterns that are contributing to this push-pull dynamic, this affection and withdrawal dynamic. What are you specifically doing? What are those patterns? And the second part of it, right? So what are the patterns? Are you love bombing them, love texting them, constantly telling them like, I never want this to stop. If only we could just stay in bed forever. And, this sort of like Romeo and Juliet, overly romanticized gushing as soon as you get any sign of affection. I'm being very dramatic here for a reason, but I think some.
Oh my God, that would make anybody be like, what the? Ugh. Like, I don't want it to end. Like, maybe, yeah, we need to work on that.
Of you will get it, and hopefully it's not pissing too many of you off. You're like, okay, Connor, we got it. I got it.
I don't think that will do it.
Are you contributing that, or are you contributing the deep fear of the intimacy that as soon as closeness happens, your body wants to run? You want to pull away. You don't want any type of like cuddling and snuggling, or, you're hyper vigilant to anything that they're saying that has to do with, I don't know, commitment.
That's where I'm at, is that I tend to be hyper vigilant and like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta run. Like, whenever, if they get too close, I'm like looking for the exit. Okay, that's my issue with me.
Or intimacy, or really being known at a deep level. So notice your side of the cycle. So bring some awareness to your side of the cycle. Part 2 of that is, what are the origins of that pattern within you? Where did it actually come from? Right? Be brutally honest with yourself. And a great question to ask is, with who does this pattern feel familiar? With who does this pattern feel familiar? So once you get clear on some of the pattern of either love bombing, of being overly affectionate, or once the
Oh, what? $5? Oh, Lord, I gotta play the whole thing now.
I am blessed to make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money, manifest making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. I ain't stressed, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money moves. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on full. And I'm living life abundant. I'm making money fast. I'm a money making magnet, making cold hard cash. I'm making money. Oh, I am blessed.
Thank you so much, Tanner Gaines, for the 318 for the $5 super chat. Let's get more into this whole situation with the being too clingy.
Affection is there, you never want to let it go, or once the affection is there, you start to pull away. Get very clear on what are the roots of that pattern. What are the origins, and who did that pattern originate with? Did you have that experience with mom, right? Was mom this like stage 5 clinger that just gave you so much love and affection and attention? You're like, get away from me, right? You're invasive. You're constantly intruding in my boundaries. You come into my room unannounced. And so intimacy and closeness and being known became a threat. Or are you the person who experienced the opposite of that, right? Maybe what you experienced was a parent, a mom or a dad, only giving you love and affection under very specific circumstances. And so you were constantly trying to please them and appease them and get them to say, we're proud of you, or get them to say, good job, or give you the pat on the head, etc. So start to get very clear on what your contribution to the pattern is and where it originated. Next is beginning to communicate full transparency of where you're at. So ideally, you have a person that you can go through this with.
Man, let me tell you something. I think I went through both. I had a very affectionate mother that used to be like, oh. And then I had, like, when I grew up, when she passed on, it was like no like love or affection whatsoever. So what happened? And I'm trying to like get people to love me. So I have like a combination of both, to where now it's like I might be like that for a second, and then I like pull back and completely like just withdraw 100%, and then block a person and just be on some I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? Just some straight up, I will block a person, like try to get away from them, and then I don't know, for some reason they still try to talk to me, even though I blocked them and everything. That's what I go through. It's like I'll be like, man, no, you're trying to get over on me, block, so that's my whole thing. It's like block everybody, stop communicating, something's wrong, you're trying to get over on me. That's my pattern. Let's go.
But you can say, look, I've noticed that we go through this cycle of being affectionate and having a lot of closeness and connection and some intimacy, and then it's like ice cold. Have you noticed that too? Have you felt that? And start to get a sense of, can you meet in the same plane? Can the other person acknowledge that that's true as well? Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Every single time we get close, you pull away, right? So start to acknowledge, hey, I've noticed this pattern. Have you noticed it as well? That's part one. Part two is, are you open to working on that together? Are you open to breaking that cycle together? Now, this is an important part of this because, number one, it's very beneficial for your attachment style to.
Let me tell you something. I'm like, man, bump you and then find somebody else that ain't gonna be like all that bullshit going on. Fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm the only one. I'm like, man, get your shit together. Goodbye. Maybe I'm like the only asshole in the room or whatever. I'm like, man, I'm not trying to I'm not the goddamn psychologist or whatever the hell. Leave me alone. Stop wasting my motherfucking time in peace. That's where I'm at.
heal through, work on some of these things in relationship with somebody else, because you're going to have to go through some hardship with them. Number two, they're also contributing to the pattern, right? So they have their own part that's likely contributing to the cycle that's playing out between the two of you. And if there's going to be any hope in hell, and this is super clear, this is super direct, of you breaking that cycle with that.
I'm not going to break a goddamn thing. Man, that's probably what my problem. That's why my ass is by myself. I'm like, you know what? I mean, I'll give you a few chances. Like, oh, okay, nigga, okay, then that's it. I think that's where I'm at. And I keep breaking up, but here's the thing: I break up and make up. Like, it's like, because they never leave. Like, I'll be like, oh, I'm break up with the person. They're like, why are you breaking up with me? Because you're a fucking ass. Well, no, and then I like forgive them and like, you know what I'm saying? That's my issue, is that I'm in like a whole like breakup to makeup cycle. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. I got that whole thing going on.
That person, they have to be willing to engage in this process with you. And if they are not, they might not be the right person for you to break this cycle, because it's likely a cycle that you've experienced in one way or another in past relationships. And if you want to break the cycle, you need to have somebody else that is willing to do that with you. Super, super important. If you don't, you can still do some of the stuff that I'm about to tell you, but no guarantee that it's going to go anywhere, because they're likely contributing to this.
Niggas don't do therapy though. See? That's why I wanted to bring this shit up, because they don't want to go to no damn therapy. They like, ain't nothing wrong with me, whatever. Woo. They not trying to go to no damn therapist and say, okay, get through your childhood trauma, woo, and they like, I'm good, I'm straight, you know, woo, and just toxic as hell. Just toxic, you know. Mom did this to them when they was 5 years old or whatever the hell, abandoned them, and then you got to deal with the bullshit. They abandon women and whatever the hell crazy stuff, and you just got to deal with that shit, you know, because niggas do not like to go to therapy. Go to therapy. Go see a therapist.
Cycle, and you can only undo your part, and they will still have theirs. So communicate, get buy-in, ask them if they're willing to do this with you, and then radical transparency on both your parts about what you are contributing to the cycle. How do you cling? How do you become over affectionate? How do you shut down affection? How do you pull away from affection? How do you strangle affection? That's kind of what anxious people do. They get a little bit of affection, and then it's like straight into the chokehold, you know, and it like suffocate the living crap. I never want you to leave. I think it was like, what is it? Wedding Crashers, like, don't leave me, I'll find you. So that's the classic one. And then the last piece about breaking this cycle is you either have to learn to lean more deeply into yourself or more deeply into the relationship. So if you are the anxious person, you have to begin to learn to trust and rely more on, not more on yourself, but more in yourself, that you're lovable, that you can be grounded, that other person is somebody that's going to lean into the relationship. You can start to trust the relationship a little bit more, and you start to develop other relationships outside of that main one, because another big one.
I think that's the key, is have other relationships. Not to cheat on a guy, but I'm like, dude, just don't let that be the. I think that if that person is not your everything, then it makes it more like, you know what I'm saying? Probably, you know what I'm saying? When you do everything and everything's just one person, that's too much pressure for anyone to handle. So probably have more than one person. Not to be like going around, hoeing around, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when there's too much pressure on one guy and he's probably cheating on you as well. So, you know, just go on dates with other men. If you're not married, like, go on dates.
For generally anxious people that are needing a lot of that affection from the relationship, is that their external relationships from that intimate one are usually lacking. right? So if you're a highly anxious person, it's very likely that your external relationships outside of that are either a little too surface level, or you're lacking in some deeper relationships.
And book that. I'm gonna tell you this is that like, yeah, Nightbot is hate Nightbot, but I'm gonna just say this is that when you have a person that is like avoidant, that is the person 9 times out of 10 they got another chick on the side. This guy is being too goddamn nice and bullshit. You know, he's white. This is the white version of whatever. He probably got another chick somewhere. I'm sorry. He probably got another chick, and that's why he avoiding you. That's why he ain't answering your damn phone call and whatever. All that bullshit and go to therapy. Honey, I'm not married to this nigga. I'll go to therapy with my husband, but if we ain't married, I'm not doing all that bullshit. What the hell, like with a guy I'm like dating, I mean, let's go to therapy together. For what? We might not even be together tomorrow, because if you piss me off the wrong way and say the wrong shit, I won't even be talking to you anyway. I'm blocked. So I'm gonna go to therapy with you. Fuck out of here. Stop being an asshole. That's my solution.
That can sort of hold you accountable, that you feel safe with, etc. So if you're the anxious person, self-reliance. You need to be able to soothe yourself. You need to be able to down-regulate your nervous system. You need to be able to start to develop a sense of I'm okay, even if they're not. I'm okay, even if you're not. And it's something you...
That's what it boiled down to. It's like, man, fuck him. Focus on yourself. All that, you know, no, focus on you, and then he's secondary. Whoever you dating, he's secondary. I'm number one. And if you want to meet me where I'm at, fine. If not, peace. That's what I'm saying. All that bullshit and coddling people and all that stuff, fuck all that. You a man. You a grown-ass man. You want to go to therapy, you go on your own, grown-ass man. It ain't up to me. I might suggest it. Like, you probably need some therapy, sir. But for me to be up there like, no. Half the time they like are seeing other women anyway. But I like to like be the captain save a nigga. Like go take care to do what you gotta do, bro. I hate to be mean or whatever, but you have to like sometimes you gotta be mean to save your own self. Like, you know, focus on you. That's what it boils down to. The guy is avoiding you and pulling away and all sort of fuck out of here with that, bro. I'm gonna we need to go to therapy and no, bye. That's what I really feel. Even though I'm gonna back and forth with the same avoiding ass nigga right now, like this avoiding the shit out of me, but I'm like, bro, but I'm not gonna do all that. I'm gonna we go to therapy. No, I'm just building up enough ammunition to leave his ass. That's what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, you done did this, and eventually I'm like, okay, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at. I'm just building up. I'm not your mama. I ain't your mama. I ain't your mama. I'm sorry. I don't care. Like after a while, it's like, you know, it's not my problem. Especially when you're at my age. I don't think I'm gonna be like almost 50 years old. You think I'm gonna sit here like we need to go to therapy together? Like if we're not married, I don't give a fuck. Put a ring on it, and then I'll be like, okay, maybe we should go to therapy, couples therapy, to make sure that everything is cool before we get married. But like just being like in a regular relationship, like we need to go to therapy together. Come on now. Just what? Is this what white people are doing? Like, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's why they're married. I don't know.
Might actually need to say in your head and practice, I'm okay, even if you're not. I'm okay if you're pulling away. I'm all right if you're shutting down right now. And it might be something that you start to say in your relationship. You know what?
Okay, girl.
It feels like you're shutting down. That's okay. I'm actually still okay. I'm okay with that. Right? It seems like you're pulling away. I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. It seems like you're pulling away. I'm okay. I don't like it. but I'm actually okay. Because what you need to start to signal to the other person that's a part of this.
I'm not fixing to say shit. I'm about to do whatever I'm doing on my side, and I'll talk to you later. No, but you gonna text him. See, you're pulling away. I'm okay. Why? You're pulling away, and I'm doing something over here, and I don't even know that you're pulling away because I'm too busy. That's what you need to do. Be busy. Get to working on yourself. Do whatever you need to do for you, and then you won't even realize he's pulling away because you're too busy doing whatever you gotta do for yourself. Because that's what he's doing when he pulls away. The fuck? Well, I'm not gonna be like worried about what he's doing. And no, I'm gonna make myself do what I gotta do for me. And you meet me when you get fucking tired of being whatever the fuck, you come to me. If I'm not busy or too busy, maybe I'll entertain you. That's how you're gonna. When you turn a certain age, all this bullshit, coddling, fuck that. If you want to get therapy, go take it on your own. I'm not your fucking mom. Fuck all that.
Affection and withdrawal cycle with you is you are all right, even though the affection has started to be withdrawn. What happens in these cycles is affection starts to get pulled away, and the anxious person just like goes into like DEFCON 5, and all of a sudden all the alarm bells in your body goes off. Your mind starts to go to all kinds of like terrible, heinous crap. It's like WebMD, right?
Man, listen, the way that you do that is to focus on yourself. The way that you avoid like going into all this stuff, maybe he's doing this, maybe he's doing that, maybe you to be doing that, you to be doing this, you to be doing this and that. Like find something else to do than worry about what he's doing. That's the biggest mistake that we make is we don't center nobody other than yourself. Not to sound selfish, but if he ain't he's not your husband, why are you centering him? Why are you up here worried about every little thing? No, bump that. Okay, well, he's doing his thing, I'm doing mine. You're still single, enjoy your life. All this like that, all that coddling shit is bullshit. It's for the birds. Straight up. It's bullshit. I'm more, oh my God, I'm going into DEFCON 5, and that's because you're too focused on what he's too hyper focused on him. Hyper focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. Straight up. Listen to my advice. I'm not even good at taking my own advice. Listen to my advice.
It's like, oh, I have a cough or my throat's itching. You go online and it's like, it's throat cancer. No, it's not that bad. So you have to start to soothe the part of you that wants to suffocate affection, closeness, and intimacy. And on the opposite side, the avoidant person or the person that does more of the pulling away, you need to begin to lean into the relationship and start to rely on the relationship a little bit more. And what this looks like specifically is more transparency about what you don't like in the relationship. Well, actually, maybe not that one so much, because sometimes avoidant people are very willing.
That's too much coddling. The avoidant person is just so fucking sensitive.
To talk a lot about what they don't like. But
you can't say, listen, let me just tell you about this avoidant person, right? They're too goddamn sensitive to hear anything about themselves. So you have to walk on eggshells and not say too much that's gonna piss them off. And man, fuck all that. Bye. Do something for yourself, work on yourself, and let him catch up. If you just listen, stop chasing him, ignore his ass, and focus on you, and he'll chase you, and then you won't have to worry about all that bullshit. You get yourself busy. You do what you got to do over here, and then he will begin to contact you. Do not sit up here and be worried about what and all this coddling and whatever this guy's talking about. That's crazy. That's part of the problem of a attached person, like a person that's like anxious about like whatever, is that they're so anxious about being liked and being like appreciated and everything. They're like so focused on what everybody thinks of them. Fuck what they think about you. What do you think about yourself? It took me a long time to like just not give a fuck. Like listen, I used to get on panels and be like just trying to be accepted. Now I don't give a fuck. I'm like, dude, I get on things. I had a whole thing that this nigga was up there like Genesis, man, she got cooked by Rob G and Tommy Sotomayor. I don't give a fuck about that. I got more views on my channel. Thank you, Tommy Sotomayor and Rob G, for bringing my channel numbers back up. I don't give a fuck about what I got cooked. So what? You know what I'm saying? I learned not to give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? And listen, not giving a fuck is freeing. It's there's so much freedom in just not giving a fuck. There's so much freedom in just not giving a fuck. Learn how to not give a fuck about this nigga, that nigga, even the nigga that you with. And focus on yourself. Stop being a fucking doormat for anyone and what their thoughts are. Who gives a fuck what they think? If you don't like it, who kick rocks? Bye. You have to be like that. Because when you start to like actually like be all like this, think about me. I love you. That sets you up to be a doormat. The guy can treat you like shit. Fuck all that. Don't do it. What do you think about me? I love you. Oh, my Sherry and shit. Meanwhile, the fucking cat is just trying to escape. Well, let the bitch escape and get on and find someone that likes your stinking ass. Whatever it is. But don't sit there. Take my advice. Trying to overcompensate for a person that ain't thinking shit about you. And trust me, the reason why I know is because I've been there before. I've done it. Don't give a fuck is the phrase. Shouts out.
I am blessed to make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money, manifest making money, money making money, money making money, money making money.
Listen, we gotta stop giving a fuck. We gotta stop giving a fuck about all this. Whoever thinks about whatever the hell's going on, bro. Just stop giving a fuck and just focus on yourself, bro. That's the problem, is that they focus on themselves, but you focused on them. That's what's happening. They're focused on themselves and you're focused on them. Everything they're doing is for themselves. And everything you're doing is for them. And what they're doing is they're taking advantage of the love that you're giving to them. And then they're trying to be repulsed by the love. I don't know what the fuck that's about. That's weird. You're giving them love, you're showing them appreciation, all this other bullshit, and they're repulsed by that. Oh God, no, too much love. Oh, you're being too clingy. Fuck out of here, bro. You know, back in the day when we were on the playground, right? Little boys and stuff. They used to beat us up when they didn't like us. When they liked us. Remember that? We'd be on the playground with our little dresses on, and the little boy would just come and just trip us or beat us up. And well, that means he liked you. Fuck that. Okay? Don't beat me up because you like me. And then you just listen, whoop they ass back. Bro, ain't no beating me up because you like me. Treat me like crap because you like me. That showed us in an early age to accept being beat up because a man liked us. Think about this. A little boy liked us and beat us up. We could talk, oh, he just must like me. He just slapped you upside the head. Fuck that, okay? Right, pull hair and everything. Yes, pull our hair and stuff. Little pigtails. Trip us. Tackle us. I don't know, I used to like try to play football or whatever. And honey, they be play football, tackle me too hard and hunch me at the same time. Like they didn't know what to do with themselves. They didn't know whether they want to hunch or tackle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I don't even got the ball. shit like that. Just crazy stuff little boys used to do. But the same little boys grow up to be men and they grow up doing the same stupid ass bullshit. And don't accept it. Fuck that. Don't let them treat you like shit. And then come up with all this old bullshit ass therapy ass bullshit. Oh no, it's because we need to come together and go to therapy. Honey, you should do that before you even try to be in a relationship with me. I'm too grown for that. I'm in my 50s. I'm 48 years old or whatever. Get your shit together, nigga. You know what I'm saying? If you a young nigga trying to be with me, you should have been to therapy before you come to me at my old age trying to like pull that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I'll save that stuff to 30-year-olds and let them deal with that shit. Me, no ma'am, no sir, no ham, no green things with ham. Sam I am. Anyways, listen, 12:48. I paid for like 2 hours and like 40 minutes. I'm just rambling. Okay, I had a great time, guys. Thank you, Tonica Day. She's our new moderator. Thank you, Tonica Day, for your super chats. Much love. I appreciate your time here. You've been like, giving me life the whole time. Like, thank you so much, because man, that Tommy Sotomayor, bro. They up there, they demonizing me. They're like, she don't know what she's talking about. Man, really? Okay. I mean, can we not, like, what's wrong with us like celebrating prom and stuff like that? But it's okay. We can't celebrate prom. It's so many things people like to be tripping on us for. Anyways, continue to be like creative Black people. Continue to like love each other. Don't give up. Okay? Because that's what this is about. Has the Black community given up? I believe that we in some aspect we've given up, and we need to not give up. We need to continue to try to be in relationship, but just don't put up with nobody bullshit. Okay? Don't put up with bullshit. Don't mean that you're gonna give up. Just don't put up with the bullshit. Okay? Continue to be savage, and if it take that, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If it take a little ass whooping, it is what it is, guys. I was new to YouTube. He said, what do you say? I was mean in the past and didn't know you, boo. I was new to you. Trust me. Man, I've been through so much, man. But listen, that made me stronger. You know? It made me stronger. Every negative comment just made me a little bit tougher as time went on, you know? So I appreciate everything, even the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever anybody had to say about me, because it made me a tougher person. Nothing happens by chance, you know what I'm saying, guys? Like, it don't happen. Like, even if someone got something to say, okay, cool, whatever. If it don't kill you, it's gonna make you tougher, bro. So, whatever somebody had to say about me, whatever, make you stronger, guys. You wasn't that mean, but honey, I've been through some mean ass stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think I got a call from SDW the other day. He was tripping on me, so I ain't gonna even get into that. My nemesis. But anyways, I gotta go to bed, guys. My daughter has a circus tomorrow. I'm going to listen, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to be broadcasting from the circus at 2 Central. I'm gonna play the whole circus so you can see these like very talented young kids and the talent they have. Like the circus, bro. My daughter is a circus performer. I never knew I'd be a circus mom. Who knows? Who knew I'd be a circus mom, bro? Circus, okay? So tomorrow I'm gonna play that. Please continue to, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. Much love. Thank you for following me. Thank you for being here. Much love. Peace.
Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place. Creating the force and the power to live a better. Just know that love and joy and peace is one in all of the same space. That you were chosen just like God. That's right. Only you can make the change. Shine your head at you. Shine so bright from darkness to light. From darkness to light. Yeah. And you'll find your